Carll Chicken Nuggets. Me, Carl. Welcome to GROWTV.
Welcome to GROWTV. Hosted by Carl. Where we have fun with our friends, talk about Jesus, and go over everything the Bible has to offer. Now once again, welcome to GROWTV.
Hi, y'all. I'm so glad to see you, kiddos. I feel like it's been forever since we hung out. You smell that? You don't smell that? You don't smell the smell of dusty dirt and animals and sweat? Oh, I thought for sure you would have smelled it. Because I'm on a farm, like a real actual farm. How cool is that? Now you're probably thinking, Carl, what are you doing on a farm?
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Who said that?
Whoa, take it easy. It's just me.
Grace, oh goodness, you gotta stop sneaking up on me like that.
My bad. But seriously, why are you on a farm? Did you get lost?
Lost? Look at me. Do I look like the type of man that gets lost?
Well, there was that one time you got lost inside the McDonald's bathroom for almost a whole day.
Someone had turned the lights off and it was dark and I was terrified, okay?
Alright, but seriously, why are you there?
Well, you know my cousin Cletus, right?
The one that tips over cows and has a fear of the color yellow?
That's the one. Well, he owns this farm and he's at a state tractor pull this month, so that's why I'm here.
So you get to take care of the farm while he's gone?
I sure do. Isn't that exciting?
Totally. I mean, that's such a cool opportunity. Kinda intimidating though.
Wait, why would you say that?
Oh, nothing. I shouldn't have said that. I'm sure it's gonna be great.
Grace, tell me.
Okay, well, it's nothing huge. I just know that comes with a lot of responsibility. Chores, feeding the animals, doing repairs, that kind of stuff. But I'm sure you're gonna do great.
Oh yeah, I think so. I'm great at all that stuff.
But what about the mornings?
Mornings? I love mornings.
Well, I mean, don't farmers usually have to get up before the sun sometimes? Like, in the dark?
What?
Well, maybe I'm wrong. Did he leave a list or a schedule?
Sure, it says it right here. I have to get up before the sun. Oh no, what am I gonna do? I'm afraid of the dark. This is the McDonald's bathroom fiasco all over again.
Hey, Carl, breathe. You'll be okay. God will still be with you even in the dark.
What? How can you be so sure?
Well, you remember Peter?
Jesus' disciple? Of course I do.
Well, he went through some pretty dark days, and I think you could learn a lot from him.
Okay, well, what happened to him?
So check this out. It says in Matthew chapter 26 that Jesus was talking to Peter, and he told him something pretty shocking.
What was it?
Jesus said that Peter would deny him 3 times that night.
What does that mean?
It basically meant that Peter would tell others that he wasn't friends with Jesus 3 times.
What? Why would he do that?
Peter had no idea what Jesus was talking about. He told Jesus he would never do that. But Jesus told him, "Truly I tell you," Jesus answered, "this very night before the rooster crows, you will disown me 3 times.
Hey, I got roosters here.
So Peter was confused. But later, Jesus was captured by soldiers and taken away.
Aw, I really don't like this part. What they did to Jesus was messed up.
Yeah, it really was. They didn't like that Jesus was changing things up and teaching people a better way to follow God. Anyway, while that was happening, Peter and the disciples followed and watched.
Did Peter help Jesus?
Well, there wasn't much Peter could do. He stood by, and while he was there watching, a lady came up to him and asked if he was the one that she had seen with Jesus. And because Peter was scared he would also get in trouble, he said, "No, I don't know what you're talking about."
Whoa, Peter just denied Jesus.
Then Peter walked out through a gate, and there was a younger girl there that looked at Peter and recognized him. She said, "This was the man who was with Jesus." And Peter once again said, "I do not know that man."
Oh man, Peter, you just did it a second time.
It was at this time Peter began to become nervous and frustrated, because a little while after, more people confronted him. A group of people said, "Surely you must know this man." They had heard the way Peter talked and assumed he and Jesus were from the same town.
What did Peter do?
Well, he got really mad and swore, "I do not know that man." And at that time, a rooster crowed.
Whoa, that was it. Peter denied Jesus 3 times, just like Jesus predicted it. What happened next?
Well, Peter realized what he had done, so he went out and began to cry. He was extremely upset he had turned his back on Jesus. This was a very dark time in Peter's life.
Sounds like it. Man, that is such a bummer.
It really is. And I tell you this story not to bum you out, but to help you realize something.
What's that?
That we can stick with Jesus when our days get dark. You see, Peter had the choice to stick with Jesus or not. And when things got too scary, he backed away. So Peter may not have stuck by Jesus then, which I get. He was afraid for his life. But we can learn from his story that we can make a different choice. Can you guess what that is?
Stick with Jesus?
Yep. Even when you're feeling fearful, sticking with Jesus is the best choice. Now, that may look different depending on the situation. We can stick with Jesus by standing up for the truth, or by sharing the story of Jesus with others, or even asking God for courage to carry out your morning farm chores in the dark.
You're totally right. I know being in the dark is kind of scary, but it's something I gotta do. Plus, I know that if I do that, my faith in Jesus is only going to grow.
Kind of like those crops you're growing on the farm.
Yes, just like that. Grace, thanks so much for helping me today. I really appreciate it.
No problem. If you need help with anything else, let me know.
Well, I mean, I have like a ton of manure if you want to help me shovel it.
Oh, would you look at that? It's time for the big idea. I wish I could, Carl, but I gotta go. See ya. Hey there, kids. It's time to rise and shine because our big idea today is I can stick with Jesus when my day is dark. So let's say it out loud on the count of 3 in our biggest farmer voice, okay? Ready? 1, 2, 3. I can stick with Jesus when my day is dark. Perfect. Well, that wraps up our time here today. Tune in next week and we will check back in with Farmer Carl. See you later.
Thank you for watching, and tune in next week for a new episode of GROWTV.
Rise and shine, kids! Oh, mornings, I need my coffee. Hey kids, welcome to KCTV. Today we're starting a new series called Rise and Shine, which is all about Easter. Raise your hand if you like Easter. I can't see him staring at a camera. Easter is great. I love Easter, and kids, Easter's good. And so we're starting a new series called Rise and Shine, and I'm a somewhat grown-up person, which means to rise and to shine, I need lots of coffee, or else I hate the world. It's only funny because it's true. It's not good, but it's true. All right, enough of that. Let's be honest for a second. The dark can be scary. You know what I mean? Like middle of the night, or you're in a room, there's no windows, and the lights get turned off, and it's just pure darkness. It's scary, and we get it. Like, everyone is not the same amount of being like scared of the dark or scared in the dark, but we all get a little bit like when it's all dark because you can't see everything, and then your mind starts playing tricks. And I mean, there's not really anything to be scared of in the dark. It's the exact same as it was with the light on, but now all of a sudden you can't see, so it's just kind of a weird thing that we're scared of the dark because we really shouldn't be scared of the dark, but we are. Anyways. We're at the end of Jesus' life in this series. We're talking about Easter, which is when we celebrate Jesus dying, which seems weird, but because 3 days later he comes back to life, woohoo, which is awesome. The story we're talking about today involves Peter. Jesus is probably his closest disciple, and they've been following around Jesus, trying to learn everything they can, listening to everything he says for 3 years. 3 years, that's a long time to spend like just trying to learn everything you can about one person. 3 years. And the night Jesus gets arrested, before he gets arrested, he tells Peter, he's like, listen, Peter, 3 times before the rooster crows. So 3 times in the darkness of the night tonight, you are gonna deny knowing me 3 times. And Peter's like, whoa, dude, how dare you? Not a chance. No way I would ever deny you. You're my homie. You're my ride or die. You're my guy, man. Like, Jesus, you're my BFF. No way I would deny knowing you. And Jesus is like, Peter, I'm Jesus. I'm right. It's gonna happen. Peter's like, no, you're wrong about this one. So what happens? Well, Jesus gets arrested. Peter gets scared. It's dark. It's nighttime. And 3 times throughout the night, guess what happens? Well, Jesus is also correct here, because that's what he does. He's correct about things. So 3 different times, Peter's like following Jesus as he's going from trial to trial, and he's being arrested, he's being beaten up, and all of these awful, terrible things. And Peter's like, and people are like, hey, don't you know that guy? Aren't you one of his disciples? And Peter's like, no, I've never seen him. Don't know who that is. Nope, no, don't know him. You know what happens? The 3rd time Peter does. The Bible says, like, as he was saying it, the 3rd time, he's like, no, I don't know that. A rooster crows. Peter's like, no, I don't. Oh, Peter! He needed some coffee. Now, you want to talk about having a dark day? Now, I don't mean like literally darkness at this point. I just mean having a really bad day, a really dark day. This day had to be awful for Peter. His leader, his best friend, Jesus, had just been arrested, was going to be murdered. That stinks. And in the process of that happening, you denied him 3 times after Jesus told you it's going to happen, and you said there's no chance it's going to happen, and then it happened, and Peter's like, oh, bad days. You know, like sometimes we have dark days. You know, sometimes we have days where we mess up, where we maybe sin, where we do things that are wrong. Sometimes it's things that other people do to us that are hurtful and just lead to some really dark, sad days. Sometimes we feel like, how could Jesus love me? How could Jesus actually want to be close to me? I'm sure at this point, it's exactly how Peter felt, or at least close to it. Peter had to be thinking, oh man, how could Jesus love me anymore? How could Jesus want to ever be close to me again? How could Jesus ever want to be my friend again? I just let him down in such a huge way. Now, if you know the story of Easter, you know that next day, Jesus is murdered. But that's not where the story ends. 3 days later, Jesus comes back to life. He brings himself back to life, defeating death, defeating sin, all this stuff we're going to talk about at Easter, so make sure you're here for that. But think about Peter for 1 second. He had been sitting with all of this heaviness, all of this darkness for like those 3 days that the last thing I did with Jesus was deny him. How do you think Peter felt the first time he saw Jesus? Was he like, oh no, he's going to be mad at me? Or was he just so happy that he was back to life? Probably a mixture of all those things. And you know what Jesus does? He just hugs Peter. He doesn't shame him. He doesn't beat him up. He's just like, Peter, you're my dude. I want to be close to you. I'm going to stick with you. And when we have dark days, and we feel like maybe Jesus isn't close or doesn't want to be close to us, it's not true at all. Our big idea today is I can stick with Jesus when my day is dark. And I can stick with Jesus when my day is dark because Jesus is always with us. Jesus always loves you. No matter what, in your darkest of days, Jesus loves you. In your worst days, Jesus wants to be close. It's all Jesus wants is to be close to you to help you grow into a better person. Jesus wants to be close to you because of how much he loves you. He can never love you more. He can never love you less because he already loves you the maximum amount possible. And that's never going to change. See, in this story, Peter didn't always feel like he was sticking with Jesus, but in the end, he does. We can do the same thing. Remember our big idea, I can stick with Jesus even when my day is dark. Have a great week, kids. Rise and shine, baby. It's almost Easter time. I really need some more coffee. We'll see you next week and Easter coming soon. We'll see you there. Woohoo, Easter!